This is Dora Puig. She is probably in the top 30 in the entire country of real estate brokers. Number one in Dade County, three years in a row. I think you're number 4 in the state of Florida.
This year I was number 4 in the state of Florida, and I was 34 in the country.
Okay.
Last year I was 19 in the country, and 1 in Florida, and 1 in Dade County, and the year before I was 6 in the country. That was my big.
All right, so let's get into it. Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Alex Vidal. I am president of Related ISG International Realty and host of the show you're watching today, episode number 81 of the Closer Club. Today, we're going to dig deep not only on sales, tech, and luxury real estate. So tune in. What advice can you give our viewers on what they can do to break into that?
Well, first of all, I think you need to be smart. And you need to understand world politics, as nasty as it gets, but understand it. Understand tax law, because it affects these high net worth individuals. I think you also need to understand the financial markets, so you know which way the money's flowing.
Okay.
And the other thing I tell my agents is get involved, network, go to events in the local communities that are targeted towards these clients. Go to homeowners association meetings, little town hall meetings. You'll start to meet owners and people who live in the community, and they start to get to know you. So that's one of the things I tell them to network and get out there.
So network in the communities or the events where these people hang out, number one. And then once they're in front of you, be smart about what you're talking about, politics, finances, etc.
You have to, because on the high end, it's affecting these high net individuals and the way they think and their method of purchasing.
Sure.
So you have to understand where they're coming from and what they're doing with their money. So you have to also be very comfortable with wealth, which I am. I'm well traveled, and I went to fabulous education, and I speak several languages, so I'm very comfortable being around international people.
How do you think tech will have an impact on the luxury market, and where do you see our industry as agents in the next 5 to 10 years?
Okay, the first part of that. I think tech is the whole future of the luxury market. As the baby boomers get older, who are the ones that are starting to get to know Facebook, and they're not very techy, and they maybe have an email, and they maybe know how to text. As they get older and younger people, the younger generations get into 40s and 50s, technology is going to be the only way to search for property. I think what everyone's talking about, Alexa and Redfin and Zillow and Trulia taking over the world, I don't believe that's going to take over the luxury market. I think there are certain segments of the marketplace where it will dominate, but I think in the north of $5 million market, at least in Miami, these people are going to want advice, experienced advice, well-versed advice before they make their purchase.
What market?
So I would use it as a tool.
What segment of the market do you think it'll affect?
I think it'll affect the $200,000 to the $1 million market.
Got it. And that's also 5 to 10 years. What does our market? What does our industry look like?
I think our industry, I think print advertising, although I do a lot of print and direct mail still, because I think it's a necessary evil due to the baby boomers and the different generations who are selling.
Fair.
I think in the next 5 to 10 years, I think it's going to be all digital marketing. We have a strong digital team in 2 of our offices, and we focus a lot on it. So I think print will slowly phase away, and I think video is going to be the only way to showcase homes. We're about to do a video on my new listing right now.
That's right, they're filming in the background.
We use video, we use virtual tours, we do a lot of still photography, we put our press and editorial coverage, I get a lot of press, we feature that as well. We're on 8 different platforms, and our YouTube channel is all full of virtual tours and very professional videos. And the other thing we do is we're very good about balancing our social media with not only real estate. We talk about lifestyle, we talk about new restaurants in Miami. Everything is focused on Miami because I am an ambassador of Miami. And then we list or showcase 2 to 3 listings a week. We never pass 2 to 3 because we don't want people to get tired of just real estate content. So I think managing your content is one of the most important things right now. That's where I see mistakes in social media.
And you do a great job of that. Because I follow you, obviously, and you have a great balance of not only personal, and maybe you're celebrating somebody's birthday on a boat, as much as you're at a friend's restaurant opening to, a $15 million house.
I was forced to put in more of my personal life by my social media consultant, who was 20 years younger than me, because she said, you've become a name in the industry, and people want to see what you're doing as well. Plus, I live on the Venetian Islands. My lifestyle is beautiful. So we showcase it a little bit here when it's interesting. I think it humanizes the whole social media experience. And I think people want to get to know the face and the person behind the message.
That's right.
So I think the message gets stronger.
I always joke, if I put a picture of my wife and I in a bathing suit, it gets 10 times the like of a photo, maybe.
Well,
Whatever.
because it's six-pack heaven between you and your wife.
More,
I've seen it.
More like my wife than me, but we're there. So what systems do you have in place to spend as much time as possible in front of clients?
That's a great question, especially for all you young realtors, especially if you want to break into the luxury market, because the luxury market has a personal touch to it. You need to be accessible to your sellers and your buyers. Anyone purchasing from you north of $3-4 million wants to talk to you when they want to speak to you. And if you don't answer them within an hour, there's another realtor that will answer them within a minute.
Sure.
So being accessible on your phone, we start group chats with all of our clients, and anybody who's pertinent to that listing or to that purchaser is on that group chat. We're live. I've got people in London, New York, Miami. We're constantly in communication. We feed them all of the marketing that we're doing for the property, and we keep them posted. They love it. It's either by group chats and text or group chats and WhatsApp, and that's really become one of our best communication sources for staying in front of my clients, especially the ones that are not in town.
Sure.
So they hear from you constantly. The other way is I am all meat and potatoes. I take my clients out to dinner. I still socialize with them. I still interact with them because I get referred a lot.
Sure.
So I'm a referred broker, so I still do that.
What percent of your time do you spend in front of a client?
I would say 30 to 40% of my week, I try to be in front of my clients.
Yeah. What do you do to keep educating yourself about what's happening in the market, what's happening politically, what's happening financially? What are your go-to mediums to educate yourself?
Okay, well, in the morning, my husband and I read The Economist.
Okay.
And when I was
online or the hard copy?
The hard copy, I get it at home, old school.
Okay.
And I had a finance professor in my graduate program at DC who told me this is the best publication to understand world economics and what's happening in the world, and I still read it. The articles are very easy to read, they're not that long. So you get in touch with it. As much as I detest politics, I have to stay in touch with it a little bit because of tax reform, because of all different sorts of laws that could affect your purchasers buying in your market. So I think you have to understand local politics and national and international politics.
Especially international down here.
Especially in a city like Miami, understanding the currency markets, how the dollar's too strong right now, so therefore all the international markets are not really strong in purchasing in Miami right now. The tax reform, so the American market is strong here. Purchasing to become primary residents. So I read that in the morning. We read that almost every day or every other day. We're on social media a little bit.
Okay. Now we're going to save social media, so I'm going to go to social media.
I learn a lot from social media.
Okay.
I mean, we're on it. I spend a little bit of percentage of my day going through social media and interacting with other people that I respect and that I like their content because I learn. I was looking at Bloomberg's comments yesterday, and I was actually sent him a question. Open houses, nothing like doing the work. You have to go to open houses and learn your market, learn your competition, understand the finishes in the neighboring house, so you can sell against it, and understanding your closed sales and the current year. I would say the past year's sales, wherever it is you're selling.
So MLS alerts, social media, and The Economist.
Economist helps me.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. You're the first out of 81 episodes. You're the first one to mention The Economist. So
I learned to read it in graduate schools.
Where'd you go to school again?
I graduated from George Washington University.
Using social media and the power of video to get in front of the masses to create likability and trust. How has social media contributed to your business?
I was one of the first real estate brokers to use social media actively. We've been doing social media for about 10 years, and it's helped incredibly. All of my followers and my likes are all organic. Don't go out and buy 50,000 Indian buyers, followers, and 25,000 Brazilian ones. You want it to grow organically, and you want it to be your target market or your audience that works with you. And I'm a big believer in letting it grow organically. I think it's quality versus quantity. So I'm not a fashion influencer that needs a million. I need more quality followers so I can stay targeted.
That's right. Well, it's funny. You see somebody's got like 50,000 followers, but they have 10 likes on their photo. That's a hello.
And they had 1,000 yesterday, and today they have 46,000.
Correct.
It makes no sense.
There you go.
So I think quality over quantity. I think balancing your social media content is very important. We are using a lot of video, We're using Instagram TV
Sure.
now. Both we're posting in our stories and our feeds, and again balancing it where it's 2-3 times a week. This week we blitzed it because we had a progressive open house on the Venetian Islands with 3 new listings on the water.
So I everywhere as I was driving through.
So we do a combination of e-campaign and a lot of social media for 4 or 5 days prior to it. We make sure we're listed on all the online sites that feature open houses, from Trulia to Realtor.com, obviously with Matrix, so you appear on everybody's hot sheet and you get syndicated out. So you want to be digitally online with your open houses as much as you can to get good traffic. So we do a good job with that.
And I love, you mentioned something that I want, you talked about broker opens and how important it is to go to broker opens.
Yes.
A few years ago, if you asked me that question, I used to say it's the biggest waste of time. Agents just do it for the sellers to make it, like all these brokers go through it. Now, knowing that you need to know your market so much more than the AI that's out there, I'm actually a huge fan of broker opens. Go and educate yourself.
You have to. If you've seen it, you can sell it.
Okay, let's talk buyers and sellers. As the saying goes with sellers, listing agents are lasting agents. So what are some techniques on securing listings on your own terms? Because you're at a stage in your life and in your business that you're not taking listings to just get them. You're securing them on the way that you want to get them. So what are some techniques you can share?
I'm hopefully securing listings to sell them, not to have listings.
Yeah.
So the idea of having 20 listings and not selling them gets you nowhere. All it does is burn you out,
Sure.
and you spin your wheels and work and work and work. And the secret to selling your listings is pricing. Pricing is key. And we are doing a ton of work on ourselves with our comparative market analysis. We go deep in MLS, we go into tax rolls, and then we've developed a new way to do our CMAs, which are competitive market analysis, where we're doing bar charts and pie charts to give the seller a snapshot of the market. For example, in 2018 and 2019. What sold, what hasn't sold. We publish the level of discount in the negotiation to give them a percentage.
Okay.
So the market right now is between 18 and 22% discount.
Wow.
And it's showing both in condos and in single family, luxury, on the beach. So
And by luxury, defining what, 5 million and up?
I would say 3 million and up.
Okay.
3 million and up. We're doing these snapshot bar charts for our sellers. They're loving it. The other thing is when we go on listing presentations, I get called a lot on the high-end stuff because of my track record.
Sure.
And I think you need to have a track record to be called for a listing appointment north of $10 million, for example.
Absolutely.
But I think you need to prepare your listing presentation to look very professional. And our listing presentation is composed of 3 different sections. One is a hardbound book, which the girls in my office call it my brag book.
Got it.
But it's pretty much my credibility book for a new client that doesn't know me.
Okay.
And we'll have my Wall Street Journal rankings in there, we'll have editorial coverage, our property lounges where we work out of, my team,
Sure.
our bios. So we share with the new seller a little bit about who we are. Then the second part of the listing presentation that we do is we provide samples of our print media, our direct mail, and we actually print a lot of our electronic media so that they can see what we do. We have a page for all our social media, we give them samples of our e-campaigns, and then we'll send it all electronically as well.
Got it.
So once I get through that, then I go into the financial part, which is the numbers. And I recommend pricing based on a very deep competitive market analysis, and I also give them the bar charts. Right now we're doing our comps for all 2018 and 2019 because the market changed a lot. So I'm showing them this is what happened last year, this is what's happening this year, we're closing out in a month, this is where you need to be priced and why. By the time I get to the part 3 of my listing presentation, I think we've done a pretty good job of convincing them that we're the right team.
Sure.
I introduce them to my team, sometimes I bring my team members with me, their bios are in there. All the top brokers have great people working with them.
Well, I love the brag book, and I think for there may be some agents looking at this saying, well, I'm relatively new, I don't have a brag book. But if your brokerage is a prominent brokerage who does a lot of business, brag about your brokerage, right? And if you have your own business like you do, then you can brag about both. And you own your brokerage, but for those that don't, you can brag. You have your brag book, but also have your company's brag book or your own. You know?
There's ways to build your listing presentation, even if it's a small listing presentation. It's the way you present your market comps, your own bio, samples of your e-campaign, samples of your broker handouts, samples of what you would like to do. Sometimes we take drone shots and aerials of the house that I'm competing for, and we'll already make a mock-up of a direct mail piece or a broker handout for them to show them we're prepared.
Sure.
Because the sellers love to know that you know their home.
There you go.
So,
I love it.
there's ways to build it.
Yeah, you're even building that relationship by doing that and making that legwork.
So we have a really great experience with listing presentations, and that's how I've transitioned over to be a listing broker.
So before that you were buyers, right? So let's talk about buyers. The saying goes, buyers are liars. There's a saying for them
yes.
too. What are some of your techniques to earn a buyer's loyalty? Are they similar to the sales side? Is it the brag book and all that? What do you do to get that buyer to work with you?
First of all, I call it meat and potatoes broker because I'm referred all the time. So many times I know who the buyer that is being referred just to me. So I know their background, I know they're real. Obviously that's the goal. Everybody wants to become a referred broker because the quality of your referrals is very high.
Absolutely.
And it's pre-qualified. But if you're picking up a client from the internet, which could waste your time, start by Googling the client at least and try to find out who they are and if they're in town and if they're real. So you don't waste your time. Once you understand who they are, they love the fact that you know who they are.
Sure.
Then I think with buyers, depend on the segment of the marketplace that you're working in. If you're working in north of $5 or north of $10 million, typically they can afford anything they want. I try to stick within the price range of what they requested from me, because I think if they're asking for a $10 million house, you don't need to be showing them a $20 million house. But sometimes I'll stretch the price point a little bit, maybe 1 or 2 properties, because I know they can afford it. Because sometimes you stick to the price point they told you, and they don't find anything, and they get the one call from someone else that said, hey, you need to look at this $15 million house. But he told me he was going to spend 12.
Sure.
And they go and they make an offer and they bought the house for 13.5. And it's happened to me. So buyers are liars.
Yeah.
They told me they wouldn't pass 12 million and yet they turned around and did.
Have you ever had a buyer
So I
sign?
cover myself.
Do you ever have buyers sign buyer brokerage agreements?
I have never done that. I've never needed to. I have to say I have a very good experience with my buyers. Most of them stay very loyal. If I've lost a buyer, typically it's because I missed something or it was an off-market deal that someone offered them.
Got it.
Or I didn't go out of the price point.
Now, in terms of deals,
I've lost deals like that.
do you show your buyers a brag book as well? Like, hey, this is my experience in the market, so you're working with the best broker down here that knows the market better than anybody, or?
If I don't know the buyer and it's the first time I met them, I usually meet them in my Lincoln Road Property Lounge.
Where we did the first interview.
We did the first interview and we work paperless there. It's a lounge. It's sort of a soft sell because we have coffee with them, we have a drink with them, and then I introduce them to my team. And there I may go through some of my track record, some of the marketing, so they can understand. We have a giant video wall where we do everything paperless. So I will pull up comps in the video wall and we'll go over the marketplace with them, give them a drink, and we have get-to-know sessions.
As we talked off camera, tequila.
We have Tequila Fridays in Lincoln Road.
Tequila Fridays, all right.
I hope you all like Don Julio. That's our favorite.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna have one because we're gonna talk off camera about Facebook. Last question: book, podcast, or TED Talk recommendation for the audience?
Okay, I'm a big fan of TED Talks. I've been there several times. There was one TED Talk in 2018 that I still think about. Penny Chisholm, she's a scientist, and there's a little microorganism cell in the center core of the planet that there are billions of them of, and they think it could solve the fossil fuel problem of the world, and they think it could basically give energy to the world.
Really?
Read it. And a book that I'm a big fan of, Ray Dalio's Principles.
Sure.
So I was just fortunate enough to go to his son's wedding and got to know him and read the book. So.
All right, Dora, I cannot thank you enough for coming the second time. I'm going to go behind the camera. Any parting words for the audience? I want to kiss goodbye before you go. And any parting words for the audience before I turn off the camera?
You need to come visit me on Venetian Islands.
All right.
Hottest islands on the beach.
There you go.